Hey, your story is important. What you do and who you are makes a difference. And your past makes a difference because you've gone through experiences in your life that have made a difference of where you are today. So your story needs to be shared. Okay, why are we dishing about this today? First of all, hi. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Arian Alexander. I'm the business coach and video expert, and I help entrepreneurs just like you all over the world create 6 and even 7-figure businesses using video marketing because it's so much fun. So, hi, if you're here with me live, hey girl, hey Trinity. If you're here with me live, hi. If you're watching on replay, hi. I always go back and read all the comments and questions on replay too, so no worries if you're on the replay. Okay, so your story is very, very, very important. What am I talking about? I've been on a lot of client calls this week with existing clients and new clients, and in my Lights Camera Cash coaching group, and hearing so many stories about people's experiences and lives that they're not actually sharing in their social media and using to build their business. And I was speaking to one new client the other day, and I heard so much of her story, and I was like, wow, like, why haven't you shared this? Because it's an important piece of your message, important piece of how your business got built. And she was like, oh, it just feels, can feel vulnerable and it can feel awkward. And I get that. It can feel very personal because it is very personal a lot of times. And so I really hear that and I understand that. And there's an opportunity to really understand how to tell your story in service to your business, in service to spreading your message. Because I know if you're here with me, you want to build your business, right? You want to make an impact with your audience. And part of the way that you do that is through sharing yourself to build relationship with people. Because think of it this way. Everything we do online and in our businesses is about building relationships, right? If you're in a service-based business, you're building relationships in order to further your business. So how do you build relationships? If we started to be friends and I didn't ever actually reveal anything about myself to you, like we wouldn't actually be friends because then like you wouldn't know anything about me. Like that's the part of relationship is we keep discovering more about each other and getting inspired by the challenges we've overcome and inspired by things that have happened. So it's the same thing in your business. The opportunity is to use your story and these parts of your life that you've had challenges in or overcome to get to where you are today in the reason of why you're doing what you do. Okay. So so first of all, does this resonate with you? Right. So you can put in the comments if this resonates with you about how you have an opportunity to use your story. And I guess my question is for you, have you been using your story? Yes or no? Have you been using your story and in service to your business? And have you, yes or no? So you can pop that in the comments. So again, hi, I'm so glad to see you here. So live, we're on replay, and I just kind of popped on today. I didn't tell anybody what's coming on. So we'll probably have more people here on replay. But anyway, so, for instance, myself, so it's easy to look at you at where you are today and think that's how you are, right? So you can look at me and go, well, she's totally like rocking it. She's got this awesome business and she works with great people and she's all, fun, and which that's all true, right? That's actually where I am today. Okay. But you don't even know where I came from, right? Like how I first started in after I got out of college was I worked for a fashion company called Brighton Collectibles, which is an amazing company. And I was in sales and marketing with them for 12 years. I was in like going to boutiques all over Oklahoma and selling products, and then moved out to California to work with the company. And I learned like, it was like getting a master's degree in marketing because the owner of the company, Jerry Cole, is such a genius. And my boss, her name is Laura Young, is a genius at marketing. So I had like a master, I didn't even know until I left how much I learned about marketing. And I still use so much of what I learned today in my business today from that company. But what happened was I had a great career. I was making 6 figures when I was like 25 and I was living in Oklahoma. So I was like basically like had so much money because the cost of living in Oklahoma is so low, and I was making 6 figures in my 20s. So I was like, this is amazing. And I had it made. Like I could have stayed with that company forever. It was a glamorous job. Everyone was like, oh my God, you work for Brighton. That's so cool. And it was a great career. You know, I had awesome people that I work with that I'm still friends with. Some of them are in these groups, you know, with us now. And so I had a great career, and I could have stayed there forever and done even more in that company. But there was something within me that kept saying, there's something more out here. There's something else for you. This isn't where you're supposed to actually be, because I was pretty miserable the last few years I was there. Even though it was a great job, I just wasn't happy. I just was like, I was smoking at the time, and I was just like eating cookies all day long, and I just was like drinking. Like I was just miserable. I was just trying to escape through these, you know, other ways, and I felt awful. And when I finally had the courage to leave in 2007, I walked away cold turkey. Like I didn't have another job. I walked away from a 6-figure income with 0 things on the horizon. I just knew I had to go. Like it was the hardest decision I ever made. I was so scared because I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. I've only worked for some. I've only been in sales. I was 30 something when I left, but I've only been in sales my whole life. That's the only career I knew. And I only knew how to work for someone. So I left cold turkey. Like I walked on the plank and jumped off with no safety net. Now I did have some savings, so that was my safety net, but like I didn't know how long I was not going to have work or anything. So I took that leap of faith to actually create something new. I took the leap of faith because I knew I had to in order to create something new. And I didn't know what that was, but I opened myself up to Spirit's guidance, and I was just like, okay, Spirit, like, what do you have for me next? And what happened next was I got into the entertainment business. Like, again, like I didn't move to LA to be an actor. People look at me, they're like, oh, you're an actor, you're on TV shows, which is true. I am. I have a very awesome career as an actress. But I'm from Kansas. Like I didn't grow up in Kansas dreaming about being an actor in LA. It was never even crossed my mind because it wasn't in the realm of possibility. It wasn't why I moved to LA. I was here for the fashion business. But when I left, like I'll tell the whole story later of how that all came about. But I ended up in the entertainment business, and I was like, I love this. And, you know, I want to work as an actor. And I just kept going and working really hard. And now 10 years later, I have a really good career in the entertainment business, and it just keeps moving forward. And then I was like, well, I can't really make money doing this though, because you don't really make a lot of money as an actor at first. It takes a long time until you get really like a hit TV show or you're doing a ton of commercials. And so that's, you know, that takes years and years and years to build that kind of career. So I was like, well, how am I going to make money? Like I have to do something. And that's how I started coaching. Is just the intuition came in to start coaching. And I started with like one client, and they were like, how much do I pay you? And I was like, I don't know, like $50. Like I didn't know what I was charging. I just knew I could help people. I knew I had wisdom. And that was 2007, basically, when I started coaching. So it's today, I don't know. I can't do math very well. It's been a long time since I've been in school. But however long that is how long I've been coaching. And it's just grown year by year since then. And the expertise that I have has grown. But I didn't just start out this way, right? Like I didn't just start out like being a really good coach. And I didn't start out being a video expert. I was terrible on videos when I first started. I was like, won't show anybody those first videos because they were not good. So, you know, what I had to overcome was not knowing what I was going to do, and not knowing how to be on camera, and not knowing if I could actually make a living coaching people. Like I didn't actually know. But I did it. I just had a calling, and I was like, well, I have to do it. I have to listen to this calling, and I have to do it. And so that's part of how I got to where I am today. And that's part of how I use all these tools that I learned along the way, of like all the marketing that I learned in my 20s, working for Brighton Collectibles in the fashion business. Like I use all of that today. You know, I learned all my coaching from when I went to, I got a master's degree in spiritual psychology. 10 years ago, something from the University of Santa Monica. So everything I do with mindset and shifting point of view and releasing beliefs is from my master's degree in spiritual psychology. And that's what I use today. So I didn't, you know, it just doesn't happen. Like your life didn't just happen. You have all these things along the way that helped you get to where you are today. And it's important for you to share that, for people to know that about you, because it makes you more relatable, right? So if I just came on here, thank you for sharing. I don't know who that is. It's just Facebook user. So whoever said thank you for sharing, I'll go back into Facebook and see who that is, because sometimes your names don't come up here. Trinity says, yes, it does. My story of surviving ties into my nail biting and coming out of both to the nail business I have today that go hand in hand. Awesome. So Trinity's got a story of, working through challenges in life and nail biting, which was probably like a habit of escape. And now she's in the nail business. And so whatever her story is, she can use to talk to people, because that's how people can relate to her, through the authenticity. If you just looked at me and you're just like, oh, she's always been good on camera and she's always been successful and da-da-da, like, how would you relate to me? Because that's like unattainable, right? To just be good. Like, nobody's good on camera when they start. Like, everybody has to learn, but it's easy to not understand that, right? So that's why I always share, like, I was not good on camera when I first started. I didn't know what I was doing. That's why I coach it today. I had to learn myself, because I was determined to be on camera, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to make myself look good and sound good, and how to speak and how to intro and exit and blah, 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 blah. And Facebook Live, it would get confusing of like how to watch people's comments and be with you. And so I had to learn all of that. So that's why I coach it, because I figured out my process. And now I can help you figure out your own process and walk you through how to be really confident on camera. So whatever your story is, it's important for you to share that, whatever pieces you're comfortable with. I'm not saying you have to share everything, but it's important to really think about what you've overcome to get to where you are today, because that's what people will relate to, is that hero's journey of courage is what we all like go, yeah, like if she can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. So Trinity, right. Trinity survived domestic violence. And I have another client that is the same way, that she really shares openly about domestic violence, and it helps people relate to her, because it's something that's so under the hood, right? Like, people don't necessarily talk about it a lot. So those of you who do, talk about like things that have been shameful in your, past, that you think are shameful, which they're not. But when we bring them out to the light, it's inspiring. Like, we connect with that. Like, I talk about mental health. I'm not afraid to talk about mental health. I had a massive depression a couple years ago, which completely floored me, like took me out of the knees. Like, my confidence got like cut out at the knees, and I didn't know what was happening. And I didn't realize I was in a depression. And, I've shared about that, and I will continue to share about it, because for me, mental health is key. It's like, oh, mental health is like my physical health. Like, I work out my body every day. I get to work out my mind. I get to stay in mental health shape as well. So it's important for me to share that too, because people can really relate to that. And when I share about it, then it gives people permission to share too, and to think they're not alone and not think anything's wrong with them, right? So whatever your story is, it's important to share it in your communities as you're building your business, because it helps people understand who you are and where you've come from to get to where you are today. So there's an art to sharing your story, right? You don't just like blah, 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 like vomit on story on people. There's an art to sharing it. And it totally can be done, even if you're scared to. That's what I do in my Lights Camera Cash program, is I actually walk you through how to share your story in a way that's powerful, that actually impacts the audience that you desire to impact. So how is this resonating with you? Is this like helpful for you? Just put in the comments if this is helpful for you today, because I always want everything I do to be super helpful for you. Yeah, so I want you to share your story. It'd be great if you would share a little bit of your story in the Play a Bigger Game Facebook group. So if you're not in my Play a Bigger Game Facebook group, DM me and ask to be in the Play a Bigger, just DM me and put like Facebook group, and I'll send you a link to be in the Facebook group. So if you're not in my Play a Bigger Game Facebook group, DM me. I'll send you a link to the Play a Bigger Game Facebook group and join it. It's a private group, so you can share your story in there, because that's a safe place. It's a private group, so you can share your story in there and start getting your feet wet and how to share that. Because I know sometimes it takes a little bit to understand how to actually share your story in a way that relates to people. But again, this is what I walk you through in Lights Camera Cash, is actually how to do that impactfully through video marketing, so that you can build your audience and build a relationship. Okay, good. Okay, Trinity says, yes, it is. Okay, great. I'm glad this is helpful for you. Awesome. All right, so love for you to put in the Play a Bigger Game group part of your story. Like, how did you get to where you are today? Like, what did you overcome to get to where you are today? Because you've all overcome something, right? If you're here, you've overcome something in your journey. So I would love, love, love to hear it. It's very important to me to hear your stories too. All right, Arian Alexander, signing off. I love you. You're awesome. And I'll see you next time.